Please sit, relax. Thank you so much, Ulster County Democrats. It is great to be with you. And I was getting nervous, all these great speeches, and I said, I'm going to be holding up dinner. And then I saw them serving. I said, yes, I can talk all I want. They got their food. I'm not holding them up. And those of you who grew up in an Italian household, you know, just eat and we'll talk. It don't matter. Make all the noise you want and enjoy yourselves. This really is a great evening, and I'm so inspired by your enthusiasm. I really am. I said to Mike as he introduced me, he can introduce me anytime. That was really generous and wonderful. Your county executive called me up and said, Tom, please come to our county dinner. I'm the honoree. I'm in a very tight, difficult race, and if you come by, I know it'll... So he exaggerated a little bit on that part, but he didn't exaggerate that great introduction. I want you to know that. And I certainly wanted to be here to add my words of tribute to Mike Hein. I'll do that in a moment. I want to say a few more things as well. First of all, I also want to be here because I haven't had the chance to speak to many of you since last year's election, and I really want to say thank you. As Mike pointed out, we had a very, very tough race last year. As Elliot can appreciate, it's sometimes hard to get folks to think about the controller's race. And when you're running against a Wall Street millionaire who puts in $4 million of his own dollars, it makes it a little tougher to get your message out there. And what made the difference for me in New York State was the fact that the men and women of the Democratic Party throughout our state never forgot me. And the men and women in labor never forgot me. And I wanted to thank you, Ulster County Democrats, because we won, and we won Ulster County. And I say thank you for that. You made the difference for me. As Mike Hein said so generously and so appropriately, you're the people that make the difference in this county. But I also want to offer my words of praise to your county leader, to Julian. I think he set a beautiful tone in kicking off the event this evening. And I want you to know something. Julian, as you may remember, I was a county leader in Nassau County, only for about a year and a half. And I always tell the story with some, perhaps some exaggeration. When I started as county leader, I was 6 feet 5 inches tall. I had full head of dark hair, and after a year and a half, that was it. It's a tough job, and in many ways a thankless job, but a very, very important one. Julian, thank you for your service. Give him a round of applause for working so hard. I'm so grateful to your county controller, Elliot Auerbach, for his generous words. You know, we have a small fraternity of controllers, you know, especially Democratic ones in our state. But I've watched Elliot, and he's just doing a great job as controller. He really is. Every kind thing he said about me, I say double back for him, because the role of a county controller at the local level is so essential and so important. And Elliot, I do hope you get a full 4-year term. I'm enjoying mine right now, so may you get that. And I do appreciate your putting in a plug for our alma mater, as we like to fondly call it, the Harvard of Hempstead, Hofstra University. Give Elliot another round of applause for the great work he does for you. And I didn't see him here, but I know he's hopefully going to stop by. I had the privilege to serve for many years with your assembly member who worked so very, very hard, Kevin Cahill. Give Kevin a shout out as well. And I don't think I can top Mike Hein's magnificent words about your congressman, but I'll try to come close, because when I arrived in Albany as a member of the State Assembly back in 1986, I was elected. There were a lot of folks in Albany I didn't know at all. And as I got to know men and women in the legislature. I was very impressed with many of them. But there was a short list of people who I really looked to as role models, as mentors, as the kind of legislator I aspired to be at some point in my career. And I must tell you, in the 20 years that I served there, on the very, very shortest list that I would have of most outstanding public servants that I worked with in the state legislature, Maurice Hinchy is easily on that very, very short list. He is truly a man of conviction, a man of principle, a man of progressive politics, whether that's the fashion of the day or not. Maurice has an inner compass that is truly pointed in the right direction always. And Maurice, we're all concerned about what's happening in the nation's capital, but I know for your constituents and certainly the people who know you best here in Ulster, it is such a comfort that you're representing us in Congress. And it's also great to see you looking so well on top of it. So Maurice Hinchy, we love you. The best. You have assembled an incredible slate of candidates. And again, the enthusiasm you have for your ticket, Julian introduced everyone. You've got some very dynamic people. John Sennett, I know, is working hard. I saw his signs everywhere as we drove here, and I know he's really just knocking on doors and reaching out to people. It's what you got to do. Shane Gallo, our next mayor of this great city of Kingston, I know as well, working very, very hard. Judge Breslin and Judge Elliott, they're due for a promotion, and you've adopted them as Ulster County favorites. And certainly your wonderful slate of candidates for the county legislature. I think your county executive said it right. He can get things done no matter what. But boy, would his job be a lot easier when you put the Democrats back in the majority of the Ulster County legislature. Can you do that for all of us? Can you work hard to see what that happens? Well, what can I say about Mike Hein that hasn't been said already? I can give you the perspective of someone who doesn't have the privilege to live in your beautiful county, but instead knows Mike, has known him for many years, even before he was county exec, but as someone who when I view the array of local officials that we have across New York State, Mike is someone who truly shines as a star. The difference that he's made in your county government, you know better than me because you live here and you are the beneficiaries of it. But I could tell you at this very, very tough time in government at all levels, when I see Mike working very much in the trenches, working very much on the front lines, in county government, the level of government that is so close to the people, like city government, like town government, like village government, and county government has such an important role at the local level, even beyond what the cities and the towns and the villages are all about, because it's the government that can provide a regional voice for a community. And Mike has just risen to the occasion in a superb fashion of really providing the kind of leadership that reminds us why local government is truly so very, very important. And he's done it in really a very challenging circumstance. I come from a county, we've had a county executive for a long time. In your county, it's a new form of government. And so there really hasn't been a clear playbook here in Ulster County. And what an exciting opportunity, both for Mike and for this community, to get it right on the first try. And that's exactly what he's succeeded in doing. And what I so value in Mike Hein's style of leadership is that he's not one that just sits there and raises hands about what the problems are and, how come we don't get more help from Washington or Albany, or we can't make decisions because we're not getting enough. No, he says, let's roll up our sleeves and figure out how we in our own community are going to be creative and going to be innovative and are going to break new ground. And where we can get support and help, that's great. But we're going to come up with our own homegrown solutions. That kind of can-do attitude, and really that kind of positive attitude, makes a difference. And in many communities in our state, we don't have that kind of vision at the county level. But Mike Hein has brought that to you, and he's tackled so many issues in such an aggressive way. I know he boasts that he's going to make Ulster County the healthiest county in the state of New York. I think that's a great, great objective and a great goal. We want to see every county tied with, for that honor, but to understand the importance of public health and to understand that this is one of those areas where county government has a distinct role. And I know a great priority of Mike's tenure has been the revamping of the health department, and to have the health department work to achieve that healthiest county reputation for Ulster. That's great for the future of you and for your families. That's what I mean by visionary leadership that understands county government can look beyond what some people tend to look at as a more narrow focus. Mike Hein brings that vision. In this part of our state, you have a wonderful historic legacy. First capital, right, of our state was located here. And that sense of preservation of the historic infrastructure as well as the natural infrastructure is another hallmark of Mike's tenure. All of his efforts supporting the walkway over the Hudson, keeping environmental issues a key concern of the county. No surprise he's been honored and recognized for his efforts in that area. We are at a time where we don't have the money that we'd like to have. And so it really requires us to come up with creative solutions. And here again, Mike Hein has been a leader not just in making a difference for Ulster, but in showing the rest of us in New York State that you can do it and do it right. He has probably been the most articulate and forceful advocate for sharing services as a way to reduce costs of any of our county leaders across New York State. It's made a great difference. We actually produced a report in the Controller's Office about how we could save money by counties and towns and villages sharing services on highway maintenance and highway repair. And we cited what you're doing here in Ulster County as an example, as a tangible example of how you could do it. Provide the service for people, but do it at a price that taxpayers can afford. And Mike Hein is the one who gave us the direction that we can point to. That's leadership. That's leadership that's making a difference for you. As was mentioned earlier, as Democrats, we're very proud of our elected officials, but when it comes to county executive role, we haven't done so well in the state. We only have 2 elected county executives right now, and the judge's brother's not running again, as you heard. And then we have another Democratic county executive who's been appointed in Broome County, and we hope will be elected this fall. But you realize Mike is the only incumbent county executive that we have on the ballot this year, and the only one really then in New York State. And that's why his getting reelected, which I gather looks pretty good, but his getting reelected by a big, big vote is so very, very important. Because we as Democrats, I think, need to prove at every level of government that we understand what it means to govern, to balance a budget, to manage finances during a tough time, to be creative about how we look out for the public interest. Mike Hein's leadership is one we can point to across the state as an incentive for other counties to start electing Democrats to be county executives as well. So Mike Hein is not alone. So let me just wrap up with the following thoughts. You really have a gem in Mike Hein as your county executive. He is a leader not just for you in Ulster, he is a leader for all Democrats. And just as Governor Cuomo at the state level has been putting our state on a new and more responsible course, that's exactly what Mike Hein has been doing here in Ulster County. What we need to do is work very, very hard for Mike to get that big vote, to have a team, a working team with him by your electing Democrats to the county legislature, by your supporting the other wonderful candidates that you have, so that Mike can continue his inspired leadership of this county. And you know why else we need to do this and need to have a great victory here this year? It really is a down payment for the great effort we're going to have to put forward next year. I don't have to tell you, you're out there as much as I am. It's going to be a tough task next year. But we Democrats have to be organized, and we have to be united. Do you remember how just a few short years ago we had many of us were on different sides on the presidential contest? I was for Hillary Clinton. Many of you were as well, but when Barack Obama became our nominee, we all united, didn't we? And we all worked together to ensure that he would be elected president. And I know, even though it's a local race this year, I'm sure when some of you are knocking on doors, people are talking about the national scene. They've got so many debates going on the other side. I feel like, the election is going to be this November. The calendar keeps getting moved up. I don't apologize for being a Democrat, and I certainly don't make any apology for my support for Barack Obama. Remind those who may be critical right now. Remind them of the mess that he inherited and how worse really it was than anybody anticipated. The state of the economy, the state of world affairs. And then for him to be stuck with the kind of Congress that he's had, no offense, Maurice, we know you're on the right side. But the other side, it's unbelievable that people would send to Washington some of the characters that we now have in our United States House of Representatives. And to any of your friends, even the Democrats that might not be as enthusiastic as they should be right now, just tell them to tune into those debates of the Republican possibilities. Is anybody, I'm scared as hell if that other side wins next year, aren't you? I'm scared as hell. So for Maurice Hinchy's re-election, for Kirsten Gillibrand, who's up next year, and for our nation's future, where we need to continue to have a Democrat in the White House, work hard this year, send a message. Democrats are alive and well and strong in Ulster County, and we're ready for you next year as well. Mike, congratulations on a great evening of tribute to you. Go get them, Ulster Democrats. I know you're going to have a great year this year.